We're not the only ones. In fact, a lot of the things that I say that a lot of people watch and listen to and say, wow, Pastor Steve, that is so fresh, that is so new. I can tell you, it's not new. I didn't make it up. It's old stuff we forgot. But I happen to like studying history. I happen to like studying the old-timers. And so I go back and dig and find out, wow, these are the things that they taught. We forgot them, and it seems so new to us, but they taught it for thousands of years or hundreds of years. So I want to show you now something new that comes from the old-timers. And I think this is very exciting. The testimony of 12 old-timers. Have you ever heard of Jonathan Edwards? Jonathan Edwards, great preacher. One of the most famous preachers in the English language, founded Princeton University. He's the founder. Today, Princeton's not a Christian university at all. That's what happens. Jonathan Edwards preached a sermon in 1739, and he said that the 1,260 days of Revelation point to the year 2016. That's pretty interesting, don't you think? Adam Clarke, you ever heard of him? Adam Clarke wrote a 2,000-page Bible commentary. This is one of the standard commentaries that many pastors are trained to refer to. I've used it many times, Adam Clarke commentary. Back in 1762, he said that 2015 would be the beginning of Roman Catholicism's fall. Now, you might say, wait a second, this guy didn't get it right. But I wouldn't say that he's a false prophet. I would say that, man, this is very interesting that another godly man who knew the Bible very well perceived way long time ago that this would be around the time when there would be a great shift, a great change, and prophecies would get fulfilled. So you got one guy saying 2016, another one saying 2015, and these are greatly used of God people. Is he perfectly right? No. We can say now, I don't think 2015 is the beginning of Roman Catholicism's fall. But very interesting how he arrived at this time. Moses Lohman said in 1773 in Notes on Revelation that 2016 is the end of it all, in which the anti-Christian power will be destroyed. Well, we got 3 months to see if he's right. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's probably not absolutely right. I don't think the Antichrist will be defeated within the next 3 months, because I don't think he's even been revealed. He's got to be revealed first. But I think it's interesting, another godly man who was used of God said that 2016 would be the year. We know at least it's the U.S. presidential election. We know that an Antichrist power is rising, it's rearing its head up everywhere, trying to control freedom of speech, trying to take away freedom of religion. We can sense it, can't we? So I think these guys would have been very happy to be sitting where you and I are. They would be so thrilled to live in the time that we're living in, but they never got to see it. Patrick Nisbet said in 1776, in the abridgment of ecclesiastical history, that 2016 would be the year of the end. Now, how did he get to this? He took 90 A.D., which is the year that most people agree is when Revelation was received. So Revelation lays out the map of the end time, the future. So they said that date must be significant. Not many people dispute it. They'd say between 90 to 100 A.D. All right, so he took 90 A.D. He said, now, there's an evil number in the Bible. What is it? 666. 666. So he said, well, you're going to start from 90 A.D. when Revelation was revealed, and then we're going to add 66, and lo and behold, we come to 756. And 756 was extremely significant for Protestants, especially at that time. Protestants were being persecuted in the Catholic Inquisition. People don't realize this. People think Inquisition is a Christian thing. No, it's a Catholic persecution of the true born-again Christians. And so at that time, 756, the Catholic Church moved from being just a religious power into being a nation state, a political power. In 756 AD, they received a land grant, which today makes up the Holy See or the Vatican City. They became a nation state, something which God never promised the church. It's something that God himself is going to come and do. He's going to come and rule and reign. But the Catholic Church assumed the position of the ruler and reigner on the earth in 756 AD. Hey, you know what? Not a bad calculation. So far, so good, right? So then he said the next important figure that's given in Revelation is this number that appears a few times, 1,260 days. And since there's a principle for days can equal a year sometimes, he said, add from that date 1,260 days. Where do you come to? 2016. Fascinating. Fourth witness. Philip Doddridge in 1804, in lectures on pneumatology, ethics, and divinity, he used calculations of Isaac Newton, and he said the Antichrist will be ushered in 2016. Like I said, he might not be absolutely right, but we got a U.S. presidential election coming that seems pretty significant. I don't personally think that the Antichrist will be American. I believe he'll be Middle Eastern. Yet, the timing is uncanny. And it's, rather than bagging people who had revelation and had a great relationship with God, I think we have to stand up and pay attention to the fact that one after the other, people who loved the Word and studied the Bible said, this is the zone. We are now in the zone. Simon Patrick in 1822 wrote a commentary. He said the last head of the Roman Catholic Church will take seat in 2016. Well, we can say he was wrong because I think Pope Francis took his position in 2014, right? I believe it was 2014. Hey, you know what? He's 2 years off. But how many people believe, how many prophets out there have declared that this is the last pope? 2 years off. You know what? Give him a break. This is pretty good. William McCrae said in 1829 that the wrath on the whore of Babylon will begin in 2016. And if you've listened to me and I've taught on feminism and the whore, or the woman who rides the beast, the whore of Babylon, I believe that it's already happening. And the Bible talks about this marriage between feminism and globalism, which I think is a fascinating thing for the church to wake up to and understand. He also said the Jubilee for the church will be in 2016. Well, the Sanhedrin declared the Jubilee from the last Hebrew year, last year. We're in the Jubilee right now, according to the Sanhedrin. Pope Francis declared this year the year of Jubilee for the church. I know he doesn't represent all of us, but to the world, he represents Christianity. How interesting. He said this back in 1829. Joseph Berg said on lectures on Romanism, the Jesuits will be part of the beast, and the end will be in 2016. Well, you and I know how accurate this one is. Because the Jesuits were a society that was formed by the Roman Catholics to infiltrate and destroy Protestantism. When the Protestants migrated to the Americas and they had revival and they were converting people and they were getting even the natives saved, the Catholic Church formed a secret society called the Jesuits, who were supposed to be the commandos and the assassins of the Protestants. And never did the Jesuits ever get power to reach the top of Catholicism until Pope Francis. This was predicted in 1840. Give the man some credit, right? C. Van Ressler said in 1858 in the Presbyterian magazine that 2016 will be the beginning of a new era, and he thought that it would be the beginning of the millennium. Would be safe to say now that he's wrong about the beginning of the millennium. I don't think the millennium is going to start within the next 3 months. And yet, again, another witness pointing to 2016. Maybe he got wrong which part, which start, which new season, but yet he saw 2016 as significant. Robert Clayton in the 1850s wrote a dissertation on prophecy. He said 2016 will be the end of the Jewish diaspora, the fall of the papacy, the conclusion of 2,000 years of church history, and the coming of the Messiah. All right, so we talked about that in 7,000 years of prophecy, how the 2,000-year marker for the church history will be very important, and Robert Clayton also thought that and preached that hundreds of years ago. John Brown in 1866 in the Dictionary of the Holy Bible says there will be mass conversions of the Jews that will begin in 2016. Hallelujah, that would be awesome. If you see, Sid Roth has now a new television station that is going to reach out to the Middle East and to the Jews. You can begin to see the flames of revival start in the Middle East. And there are many others, but I'm just thinking about Sid Roth because I saw that news announced recently. Turkish forces, John Brown said, Turkish forces will invade Israel in 2016. Wow. What is going on in Turkey? There was just a failed military coup, and Recep Erdogan, the president, just concentrated power to himself, firing generals and judges and journalists and shutting down any newspapers that disagree with him. What is he doing? He's saying that anyone who disagrees with his Islamic rule, he doesn't want a secular state. He wants a caliphate, a revived Ottoman Empire in Turkey. He says he'll get rid of them. And he just did that. And Turkey is right now in the middle of their 3 months of state of emergency. Wow, John Brown, pretty good. Maybe not 100% accurate. Maybe not. And yet we don't dismiss these previous learned men's testimony. One more. William Reed said, I'll give you 12, right? 1876, Lectures on Revelation said Roman Catholicism will merge with the New World Order in 2016. Hey, what happened in 2015? For the first time ever, the Pope went and spoke in front of the U.S. Congress. Never happened before. If there's globalism, if there's a globalist force, it's the UN and the U.S. And the Pope went to speak to the UN and to United States Congress. And what did he talk about? He didn't talk about Jesus. He talked about the biggest globalist agenda, climate change. They said we're going to have an ice age. They were wrong. Then they changed it to global warming. Then they're wrong. Now they call it climate change. You know what? I think we're tired of all the changes. We don't think that that's the biggest issue, especially if you're the head of supposedly the head of a Christian denomination. You should have preached the Bible. You should have told people about how to be saved through the blood of Jesus Christ, His Son. William Reed said, Catholicism and globalism, the New World Order, will merge in 2016. Why is the Pope caring so much about this globalist agenda? The goal of which is all political. It's power, it's tax, it's carbon tax, it's controlling people. Why would that be an agenda for a Christian minister?